Hey everyone, welcome to GSA Schedule Federal Buyers Training. This is part 4, step 4. Locate forecast reports for upcoming contracts. This is the way that you get ahead. Forecast reports are amazing tools. They really are. It really gives you insight on what's about to happen, not just for tomorrow, but within 30 days, 90 days, next year, all of it. So forecast reports are very important in this federal contracting process. And by the way, forecast reports were totally created just for small businesses so that small businesses can get a jump start and get organized and prepared for what they need to do to win. I think that's amazing. I love forecast reports. I'm Michelle Brown with Federal Certifications and Training Programs with FedBiz Now and FedBiz Exchange. So let's get started. So we're in step 4 and we're going to locate forecast reports. That's what I'm going to teach you in this video. This is so important because it used to be very frustrating for small businesses. And I remember when I used to have so many, I don't want to call them fights, but disagreements with GSA schedules and GSA about keeping their forecast reports up to date. And the reason I did that is because when I traveled around the country and I would teach our businesses how to make sure that they're staying on top of things, I noticed that GSA never had their stuff together. It was always a mess. And they tried to do a lot of things to appease me, but finally they just got it together. And why would they appease me? I mean, you would think that they think I'm a nobody, but I'm not a nobody. I'm somebody making noise. I'm somebody asking questions about them doing their jobs. There are a whole group of small business people, and not just in the SBA, within the agency for GSA, that they're paid taxpayer dollars to do their jobs. And I wanted to know why you guys can't get out a forecast report for small businesses that has correct dates on it, because this is what you need in order to get ahead. That's one of the most frustrating things about this process that has become much better. Even with FBO.gov, when I teach you guys how to use FBO.gov, I will identify some things that can help you stay ahead. It's crucial to be successful. You need to know these things so that you can win. So forecast reports years ago, and I don't know when this happened, to be honest. I don't know which administration did it, but I know that it used to be in the regulations years ago. I'm talking like 5, 6 years ago, but it wasn't being done. Well, now I've noticed over the past 3 years, every agency is doing a great job. Maybe it's the SBA that has been on them. I don't know how they got it together, but they all got it together. And now I can find a forecast report that is up to date on any one of the agencies that I want to look for. And if I can't find it, I feel confident that I can contact the small business agency and say, can you get me the right forecast report? And somebody will take care of it. It didn't used to be that way. And that's why I was battling, which I hate that word, because when you have to fight something, all it does is get worse. But today, my attitude is different, and I will say, if I have a concern about something, I will try to work with the agency or the person, because battling doesn't help. But you need to understand how valuable these forecast reports are. The agency forecast reports are part of your research and your crucial plan. They're really important to help you figure out where you want to be, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and what you need to be ready for, and what your federal agencies are planning, like where they're headed. Is it true that they're going to be using GSA schedule a lot? I don't know. It may be true in your industry, and that's what you have to find out. It may be true under your codes. And to be honest with you, when I heard that before, that they're going to start using GSA schedules before, I did more research, but I did it in specific areas because I had a client coming to me asking me about it. And it turns out it's not that they're turning everything into GSA schedule. It was one area, and that was an engineering area. Yes, they are using GSA schedule more for specific types of projects in engineering. Those are the answers that you need to have. Now, if there's not going to be a lot more support for GSA schedules in certain areas, then remember what I said. You have to get in that area and then you have to guide them. You have to guide the buyers. If the buyers like what you have to offer, once you have one contract with them, even if it doesn't come through your schedule, then you have their ear. You can let them know, I can save you even more money by you using our schedule. So take this seriously. And then once you've identified the agencies you want to work with, locate their forecast reports. Every agency has a forecast report. So the forecast reports can give you a huge head start. Now, sometimes you might get on there and you might find something that's already about to happen, but that's okay. You know, you at least you know, because I'm telling you, if you see one opportunity like that with an agency, more than likely you'll see it again. Not the same opportunity, but one just like it. Sometimes they will call it a new requirement, meaning they've never done it before. Sometimes that's even better. But the fact of the matter is you can get a head start. By law, every agency has to have one. I just told you the history of that. But they were created specifically for you as a small business to help you stay abreast of the situation and keep the playing field level. Large companies know when things are coming out, just like they do on a state level. This is why large companies suck up all the contracts on the state level, because the state people, no offense, they're lazy. They only want the large companies to get the work and let the large companies pass down the work to the smaller companies. Now, some of you may have had lots of success with state certifications, but a lot of you, more than 98% of you, have not. And I'm stepping out on a limb by saying that, but I work all around the country. And most of the people that have DBE, WBE, MBE certifications are not winning. And when they're invited to participate, it's with a large company. So they know, everybody knows large companies have the in. I don't know how they get it, but they do. You know, so, but the forecast report was created to help you have the in on what's going to happen. Large companies already know. You know, they're out there hobnobbing, they're doing stuff that you don't have time to do or you can't afford to do because your business is just starting. You don't have $5,000 to spend at a whim. And even if you are a multi-million-dollar company, you still should not be spending your money like that. You should not have to go lobby these people. You should be able to depend on a fair process. And this is one of the things that makes it fair, a forecast report. And you can see how they're going to put it out there. Is it going to be put out there under GSA? Is it going to be put out there under veteran owned? Is it going to be put out there as a small business, total small business? You can see that on a forecast report. Okay, so in this step, we'll talk with you about how to locate the forecast reports, where they are. You'll go to acquisition.gov, but I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that so that you won't get to acquisition.gov and be all over the place. If you don't find the forecast report in acquisition.gov, then you may have to just go to Google. You put in the actual agency and you put in the highest level agency. So, well, I guess you could actually Google the sub agency or the baby agency as well, but it usually works better if you put in the highest level agency. So for the Department of Justice, if you were to Google the Department of Justice, you're going to get all the forecast reports for all the baby agencies as well as the Department of Justice. That's why it's better to Google the parent, the Big Daddy agency. You research and locate specific upcoming opportunities. That's what the forecast report is, and it shows you the set-aside contracts that are coming out. It identifies opportunity details, buyers, set-asides, incumbents, and estimated dollar amounts or ranges. You can use SBC laws. SBC stands for Small Business Concern Contracting Laws to take advantage of opportunities. For instance, if you see anything over 300,000 or anything, or I should say anything under $300,000, that must be set aside for small business. If you see an opportunity in your industry under your codes for 300,000 or less, and it is with a larger company. It does not say set aside. It's not, either it has a large company that's an incumbent. That's kind of a red flag. You need to look and make sure that it's turning into a total small business set aside. Maybe Boeing has the contract now, but the contract opportunity that's new is going to be under $300,000, so they need to have that as a set aside. Boeing cannot participate in that contract opportunity any longer. Maybe they're the incumbent now. Incumbent means they have the contract now, but if it's only $300,000, they shouldn't be giving that to Boeing. Boeing shouldn't even be in the competition. The SBC regulations contracting law says that must go to a small business because it is under $300,000. And that should be a red flag to you. Now, I would not suggest that you call the contracting officer because you don't want them to know that you know that. You don't want to irritate them. I would suggest that you anonymously call a small business person for that agency and ask them, is that going to be turned into a total small business opportunity because it's under 300,000? And the reason you want to know that is because you need to be on top of it. You can't compete with large companies like Boeing. You don't even want to, and you don't have to. They have so much opportunity already. Remember, large companies get 77% of all of the federal contracting dollars, meaning all of the federal tax-paying dollars. Large companies are already getting that, and they're already greedy. They will go after anything they can get their hands on. I wish we were the same way. I wish small businesses were the same exact way. But, you don't, I understand why, but the point is that that's not even their opportunity to go after. It's yours. So you should pick up the phone. Do not tell them your real name, because you do not want anybody holding anything against you. You know how people are. When you put them on the spot and ask them to do their jobs, they get an attitude. So you need to call in as a regular business person. They're not going to ask you all them questions anyway, and if they do, do not tell them the name of your company. Tell them something else. Do not tell them your specific information. Okay, if you need to call back and talk to them at another time about something more pleasant, that's fine. But when you're looking for opportunities and you're calling people out, do not tell them your real name. I can tell them my real name because my company doesn't have anything to lose. It's what we do. We are a small business advocate, so we're not afraid to speak up. We don't need them. And even if I help with contracts, I help with contracts through another company, just like the one that I've recently told you about. It's through another company, and I use the email address that the client gives me. I can have the client assign me an email address, and I don't, there are 1,000 Michelle Browns in this country, like thousands, probably millions. So I don't have to do things a certain way when I'm doing my regular job. So don't put yourself in a situation like that. It protects you. And then document what you find. Once you start looking at the forecast reports, you need to document what you find to follow up with the buyers. The buyers will be right on the report. Okay, which people ask me all the time, how do I find buyers? They're everywhere, believe it or not. They're on all the solicitations. You just have to know what codes they're using, and you will learn this because you're doing your research. You just have, and you'll also learn it on the forecast report. The buyers are right on the forecast report. Some of them give you their email and their telephone number because they have to by law. Some of them never answer the telephone, but I don't care. I have their email address, and I know that they're going to answer me one way or another. If I ask them about a forecast opportunity on their report and it's connected to their names, and I put in the opportunity description and or the solicitation number. A lot of times if it's on the forecast, you may not know the solicitation number, but you can clearly identify what opportunity it is. If I put that in an email and I send it to a contracting officer, they're going to answer me. And if they don't, I'm going to give them a couple of days and I'll ask them again. and I guarantee you they will answer me. And if they don't, me personally, I would probably find their supervisor or the director or the manager and see if they can find out the answer to the question. Again, if it's something touchy, you may want to identify yourself differently because you don't want to piss people off before you get in the door. But you want to talk to the buyers that are listed on the forecast report before they bid, I should say, before they put out the solicitation for you to bid. You want to do that ahead of time because that's a great time to talk to them. If the solicitation is already out, they get a little bit scary because they don't want people thinking that they are showing favoritism. So let's talk about how do we find these forecast reports. So you're going to go to fbo.gov on the home page. You're going to go all the way down to the bottom where it says, the bottom to the right, where it actually says Federal Agency Business Forecast. Okay? It's in the second column to the right. You click on that link and you're going to get this page, and it takes you straight to where the forecasts are. If you type in acquisition.gov, you're going to be all over the place. There's a lot of stuff in acquisition.gov. So you need to go from the link that I give you. When you click on that, you could click on home page. The home page actually describes the different agencies. That's their main home page. You don't want to go there. There's too much stuff there. But if you're looking for a specific small business, you look at the second link, which says small business. You click on that little arrow, and it's going to show you all of the agencies. If you click on business opportunities, yeah, it's going to show you some business opportunities, but it might take you to fbo.gov. It might show you some opportunities on their pages, but I would suggest that you click on that link when you have time, choose an agency, and look around at some of the opportunities that they have on their own website. But the small business page is where the small business websites are for each agency. Every agency has a small business website. Okay, you don't want to go to the big website. You want to go to the website when you're doing your research for small businesses. Okay, and then finally, procurement forecast. That's where you want to be right now. Procurement forecast. You see the listing of all the different agencies. Most of the agencies are here, not every last one of them. If you don't see it here, then you need to Google it. But most of them are here. You would just click on the link of the agency that you want to look at. So as an example, I'm going to use the Department of Justice. I clicked on the link for the Department of Justice, and this is their home page. Now, and it's not the home page for the big Department of Justice website. It is specifically for small business. Now, most people would say, well, why wouldn't they just have the Excel spreadsheet right there? I don't know. I mean, sometimes they do make it difficult for us, all of us, you know, the government. But what you need to do is when you get to the home page, look for the opportunities link, contracting opportunities, forecast reports. Well, with the Department of Justice, when you click on their link, it's not right there on the front page. It used to be, but it's not anymore. You used to see a little blurb that said forecast reports. Well, they moved it. So now you just click on find contracting opportunities. If you don't see it, keep looking. Don't go too far away from contracting opportunities, but most of them are like that. Some of them you click on the link and the forecast report is on the right page. In this case, I clicked on the link of find contracting opportunities, and it took me right to the forecast report, which you will see this blue arrow where it says 2018 forecast report. I clicked on the forecast report, and this is what I get. This is what most of them look like. They're not all Excel spreadsheets. Some of them are software where you have to put in first quarter, put in your NAICS codes, put in what you're looking for, dollar amount, but most of them still look like spreadsheets. And actually, I'm a little archaic. I'm very good on the computer, but I actually like spreadsheets because I can do whatever I want with that spreadsheet. I can save it. I can sort it, I can do whatever I want. So this is the Department of Justice spreadsheet for forecast reports in 2018. It doesn't just have one agency, it has all of the agencies that are under the Department of Justice, all the sub-baby agencies as I call them. Okay, so if you look at this, I need to be careful that I don't go to the next page, but if you look at this, you have ATF over to the left, that's in column A. In column B, you have the type of the description of the activity or the requirement, which is the contract. So in this case, in the first row second, or row two, I should say, the second row, you have administrative and technical support services. They're looking for administrative services, and it tells what code it's under for the column C. So they put that under 541990. And look at that, it's an 8A. In this case, the procurement method they're going to use is 8A. It's an 8A sole source. Now, here's the thing. Here's my question. This would be my question to them. How do they know it's a sole source? I knew they had to have an incumbent already, meaning somebody that has this contract. So why is it on here if it's a sole source? They have to post it, because what if this is really not a sole source? What if there's somebody else out there other than, look at column J. I'm skipping over a little bit, but if you look at column J, what is that? NLT Management Services LLC has the opportunity right now. What if there are other companies that can do this? Maybe some new company that's an 8A can do this. Then if this is out here, another 8A company could actually compete for this sole source. And then it's no longer a sole source. It's only a sole source because this agency, ATF, is saying we don't know of any other company that has the ability or the capabilities to do this. So right now it's a sole source. That's how it's out there. Now what happens if they get another 8A to compete? Then it turns into a competitive. You could actually, if you were an 8A and said, I can do this job, my company can do this job, then you could literally reach out to that point of contact and say, is this going to turn into a competitive now that I'm letting you know, because we could actually do this too and we'd like to be considered for this opportunity. Now that contracting officer could say, send me your capability statement. They could say, send me some more information, or they could even contact the 8A, the SBA folks, your region, and find out more about you. And then they can let the two of you compete. Now that's your right if you're an 8A company to request that they do that. You want a fair opportunity. Not that you're trying to kick anybody out of a job, but may the best man win. That's just the way it is. That's business, that's life. So just so you know, if you see an 8A sole source, but you feel that you're an 8A and you can do this, then you should be asking about this. You should be competing on this. Okay? Then in column E, you see that it's an estimated dollar range. They tell you exactly how much it's going to be. Column F, they tell you the target solicitation. Column G, they tell you the award date. Now, E and G kind of go together a little bit because they tell you in F approximately when the solicitation is going to come out. In G, they tell you when they expect to award. So you know, okay, that solicitation is coming out somewhere around the first quarter, the first quarter would start October 1st of every single year. So you know you should be looking for that opportunity. If you're in January, that's just the first part of the first quarter. So you might want to reach out to the point of contact, which is the contracting officer, and ask them, hey, are we still on track for this opportunity? You need to name the information about the opportunity, keep it short and sweet, and you can do this in your own business email, under your own business. Let them know what you do, send them a capability statement, and ask them, are we still on track? Are you guys still on track for putting out the solicitation in the first quarter? They will say yes or no, we plan to do it on this date, and then or they might say it's already out, here's the solicitation number. This is how you communicate with contracting officers. And this is how you get more attention from them, because you're trying to help them do something that they need to do. Then column G says, well, this is going to be awarded by within the first month of the first quarter. So that tells you how quick this is going to happen. If you write that email to them and they say, well, the solicitation is not even out yet, you should be thinking to yourself, well, this is January. This is the first month of the first quarter. You said you're going to award it by uh, January 31st. That should give you a red flag. You might want to ask another question. Oh, I thought you were going to award it in, at the end of this month. Has it been postponed? Now, you shouldn't have to ask him a second question, him or her. They should just tell you it's been postponed until February. It's still going to be in first quarter, but it's in February. Okay? Then the place of performance, POP. You need to note the place of performance. Can you do it? It's not in your state, it's somewhere else. Can you do it? Then the incumbent. You should be trying to look up this incumbent to see what else they have going on. They're your competitor. What else do they have going on that you could possibly do? You need to look them up in SAM. You need to look them up in the Small Business Dynamic Search. You need to look them up to see what are they doing. You need to even find out, are they, how long have they been in, maybe if you can. I mean, I know how to find this information, but are they new to the 8A program? What's going on with them? What else do they do? Do they have a lot of things that I might be interested in being in that arena or that competitive position with them? Or, are they on to things that I should be on to? And how do you find that out? You go back and do a USA spending on the recipient. You put in their full name, and then you find out how much activity do they have. And some people may feel, is that fair to target my competitor? Absolutely. It's, every man for himself. This is business. That's just the way it is. Amazon doesn't care who is competing with him. He just goes and gets what he wants to get. That's the way we all have to think. That's the world of business, and it's the same way in federal contracting. Now, this is the GSA. Look at how many GSA schedule opportunities there are in this column under D. We know for a fact ATF knows how to use the GSA schedule because they're using it. They might like 8As too. They might like total small businesses. Now remember, this report is much bigger. I'm just showing you one page of this report. But one thing I do know about ATF, they know how to use the GSA schedule. Some of the departments do. They know how to use it under IT project support. They know how to use it under, look at this, alternative dispute resolution services. They know how to use it under, well, no, that one was 8A, or small business set-asides. So they like small business. This forecast report could be full and open opportunities, but they want small businesses to know, we got your back, we're interested in working with you, and this is how you know that. So you should be as excited as I am about forecast reports. So once you identify, in my previous steps, you've identified where you want to be, which agencies. Your next step is to come and find their forecast reports to see if they're putting their money where their mouth is, or their mouth where the money is, or whatever. The money where the mouth is more like it. So just come to your forecast report and you'll get all the answers you want, and you'll feel good about it. Or you won't feel good about it. You'll say, I don't see any opportunities that would fit what I'm doing. But if you identify them in your spending reports, in your research, more than likely you will see that your forecast reports match. GSA schedules and GSA the agency. And remember, I know I probably confuse you sometimes, but I just want to backtrack and say this. GSA, which is General Services Administration, is an agency. For those of you that are new, they're like the Big Daddy agency. They have sub-agencies underneath them, like Public Building Services, and they have about 4 or 5. GSA created the GSA schedule. GSA is encouraging all the other federal agencies to use the schedule. Okay, so I'm just giving you a reminder. For those of you that have schedules already, you understand this. For those of you that don't, you may not understand this. This may be a little bit confusing. That's why I'm trying to help you to understand this. Now, remember I said I used to butt heads with GSA about having their forecast report up to date, making sure that small businesses knew what was going on. Well, guess what? They now have a whole new forecasting system. It's not a spreadsheet. It's a little more sophisticated, and believe it or not, I love it. So I give you a link to the new GSA schedules report. And who's on this GSA schedule forecast report? Well, right now, GSA is using it themselves. They want all of the other agencies to use it too. They're welcome. They want the other agencies to put in their GSA schedule opportunities inside this GSA schedule forecast report. Is it being done? No, it's not. Hopefully it will be done in the future. But right now, it's very nice. I like it a lot. Not that I'm the only one that decides whether or not it's good, but it's definitely an amazing start, and they should be very proud because they were a mess. And so there's a link to this. It's called Acquisition Gateway. You can't get through it to it just this way, but I show you the easy way to get to it. I give you a link, you click on it, and then you're going to see this page. You click on the button that says non-federal government and public users. If you do that, you'll get this page. It looks like this. You can actually search all of the thousands and thousands of opportunities for GSA schedules in this particular forecast report for GSA. You can do it by keyword search. You can do it by agency. There are only 2 agencies, so you can see to the left the Department of Interior is trying to put their opportunities for GSA schedules in here. I think that's great because if they can isolate the GSA schedule buying opportunities under every agency and put them in here, that would be amazing. Then you don't have to, if you're a GSA schedule holder, you don't have to go all over the place trying to dig through things. You could find a lot of GSA forecasted opportunities right here. In the meantime, you still do need to go to every agency to see what their GSA schedule opportunities are, but the idea that a lot of the other agencies could start using this is wonderful. But right now, GSA themselves, GSA the agency, is putting all of their opportunities in this forecast. So if you want to do business with GSA, like if you're a realtor or a real estate person, GSA should be at the top of your list. And if you're in real estate and GSA is one of your main agencies you should be working with, you should have a GSA schedule. If you don't see a lot of business from GSA, then I wouldn't say you need to have a GSA schedule. But GSA, if they're your agency, your primary agency, you should have a schedule because all of their activity will be, I should say not all, but most of their activity will be under their schedule. And why wouldn't it be? They created it for their own agency, and they created it for other agencies that want to have a quick hit situation that they can buy off of. So as you can see, you can query by the place of performance, the acquisition strategy, meaning the acquisition strategy means how are they going to purchase something? Is it going to be through the schedule? Is it going to be 8A? Is it going to be total small business? Is it going to be woman owned? Sometimes if it's not a set aside, it'll be in here too because it's their forecast report. But a lot of stuff that's in here is for small business and it's a set aside. Then you can see what codes they're using. So you could search by all of these areas that I'm talking about, by agency, by place of performance, by acquisition strategy. So if you wanted to look at all of the GSA schedules in here for your type of industry, let's say you are an engineer and you want to put in your codes. You can put in your codes. You can put in type of strategy, or acquisition strategy, which would be GSA schedule. And then you could put in General Services Administration. You could put in the quarter you want, or you can choose all of the quarters, meaning fiscal year quarters, and then you can choose the contract type, and you can hit search, and then you can download everything that you need to download in this report and study the report just like I'm teaching you to do with your USA spending reports. Or you can just look at it right on the screen, which is fun to look at as well. Okay, and it'll give you all the same details that I just discussed with you. It'll give you the NAICS code, just like on the Department of Justice's forecast report. It'll give you the NAICS code. It'll give you the agency that's doing the buying for the opportunity. It'll give you the maximum and minimum dollar amount. It'll give you the award status. So if it's in process or if it's already been put out to bid, you'll see it right there. It's just great. It's much better than the situation we had before. So if you hold a GSA schedule, you should be looking at this report. This should help you to get ahead. So after you review the forecast reports, go to the agency's website. Read about how the agency works with small business. You don't have to look and read at everything, or review everything, or spend a lot of time, but you need to go to the small business website just to make sure you understand who they are, what they're doing, what they buy. Okay, because that's one thing the forecast reports will tell you, but it won't tell you everything that they buy. If you've never been to some of these small business agency websites, they're tailored for small business. They're great. You find out things, you find out about pre-bid meetings, capability meetings, all kinds of things that they have going on for small businesses with contracting officers and program managers. And then you can understand what's important to them. How do they work? They get offended when they think you guys don't know who they are, how they work, what they buy. And yeah, you can't know everything. And are they acting like you're the only agency they're going to work with? Yes, they are, which is totally unfair. They know, how things work. They know you're probably working with other agencies, but they probably feel like they have to know a lot about you. They have to know a lot about women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, small businesses. They have to do the same thing you have to do, just from a different perspective. So in all fairness, if you're going to go after 3 agencies, go after and understand those 3 agencies. And that's why I tell you, if you find 10, do 3 at a time or 5 at a time. Don't try to do them all, otherwise you will feel overwhelmed. And most important, you learn and understand how you can help them. You have to know how you can help them. You have to know, you should be bold. Understand that they don't know what you know. You're the expert in what you're selling them, not them. So if you do your homework, you'll feel a lot better, a lot more confident. You'll get things done. You will know what you're dealing with. And they're looking for new ideas and cost savings. And this is a GSA schedules video, so you guys already have the cost savings in place. You just need to get in the right space and educate these people, educate these buyers. And you need to know all the time when they have opportunities to bid. That's what you need to know. That's the most important thing. If I had to tell you 2 things, I was thinking about this the other day, 2 things. I would tell you, do your research and bid. That's what I do when I'm helping clients. I tell them, if they listen to me and then I show them how to do it and they win, do your research and bid. Those are the 2 major things. Of course, research is loaded. Bidding is kind of too, but the fact of the matter is, if you do those 2 things, and where does marketing fall in? Well, you guys know I feel that bidding is marketing, because you may be one of 2 or one of 5. Even if you're one of 10, that's how you get in front of the contracting officer. They care about your capabilities. They don't care about what you have to say to them. They want to know, can you do it? And you might say, well, I want to get in front of them and tell them I can do it. And isn't it relationships? It's relationships built on, can I trust you? Can I depend on you? Because if this doesn't go right, I'm going to get blamed. I'm going to lose my job. And if you think about that, that makes a lot more sense to you. I'm sure it does. And so it has you to understand how to deal with them. So you want to get in front of them? Bid. because you can get in front of them, and I've told you stories about that. People get in front of somebody or in front of the contracting officers, they have the best situation and they never bid. What do you think? They're going to give you a contract just because they know you and like you? Does that happen? It happens to some people, but very, 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 very few. Very few. I don't care if you're 8A. I don't care if you have a GSA schedule. I don't care if you know somebody. I just believe I mean, I've only known of maybe two situations like that. And I ask 8A people, did somebody tell you, are you going to get this just because you got introduced? And now, in an 8A situation, that can happen to them because it's part of the SBA's job. They're in a program that with a BOS, with someone who's supposed to do that. So it doesn't even happen with them most of the time. Now, there are also people that have GSA schedules and they say, well, I was told that they have to buy off of my schedule. Well, I don't know who told you that, but it may be true. I'm not saying it's not. But maybe the chief executive or the chief procurement officer told all of their buyers to use the schedule. That may be true. But if I were you, if you were told that, I would backtrack and find out, you know, is that a true statement? Because I don't believe that there are many situations like that. A lot of these buyers don't even know how to use the schedule. So unless somebody tells them you cannot buy anything else unless you buy it off the schedule, that's when they go learn how to use the schedule. So are there some situations like that? Absolutely. Are there situations in agencies where they say, we've determined through studies and through analysis and through reporting that we can save $50 million if we use GSA schedules to buy A, B, and C? That's the type of initiative that has to happen. But that doesn't happen that often. It should happen, but it doesn't. So you need to be the person to say, I can save you $15,000 if you would use my GSA schedule, or if you would use the GSA schedule. That's when they will listen to you. But if you got to get it in a different way, get it in a different way. And a good time to do that is when you're doing your forecast research, because you see who the buyers are. A good time to do that is when you're looking at opportunities that were past, opportunities from your old research. I shouldn't say your old research, from old contracts, meaning if it was a contract from last year, you need to be checking up to see, is that contract on the forecast report? Well, it may be, but it may not be coming out for 2 more years. So that's the kind of homework you have to do. But 2 things, research and bidding, period. That's how you win. So they can't know you and they may never meet you. But if you're bidding, they will know you through your work. They may never see you in person. They may not even care to meet you in person, but you could still win millions from understanding how contracting officers work. You could get a relationship with 2 or 3 just by bidding, and then you win, and then they know who you are, and then you can talk to them. Not about BS, not for a pat on the back with them, but you could certainly expect that one day they might pick up the phone or send you an email and say, hey, can you help me with this? I know you don't do this, but can you? I've had clients. Well, this person wasn't really a client, but she was in our class, and she told the entire class about how she was an 8A. She had a schedule too. They didn't buy this off the schedule, but they needed a tractor trailer, and asked her could she get one because they had done business with her and they liked her and they trusted her. And she was an interior designer. We thought that story was so funny, but I hear those stories all the time about how when the buyers know you and they need something fast or they need someone they can trust, they might ask you for anything, and by golly, you should go and try to find it. Try to find it. You could sell it to them. Find it, and they'll buy it from you before they buy it from someone else because they know you and because they like you and they trust you and they know you're for real. You're legit. So with that said, thank you for joining me today. See you in the next video, which would be part 4, step 5. Please leave me your comments, subscribe, and let me know your questions.